And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another weekly review with The Robot, brought to you by the Movie Pope. And here he is, bolts and nuts akimbo, The Robot.
We has always maintained that the only good Alien movies were the original by Ridley Scott and the sequel by James Cameron. Ever since, we've seen a parade of stinkers, from the overly violent and campy Alien Resurrection to the very befuddling Prometheus, which didn't know if it was or wasn't part of the franchise. And let's not forget the crossover Alien vs. Predator movies, which are atrocious, nothing but pandering to fanboys. Last year the guys did a review of Alien, Romulus, which had some promise, taking the familiar story beats of Alien but adding its own grotesque flair to it. Not quite being a photocopy of the first film, not overstepping its boundaries either. So, in light of Alien, Earth debuting on FX, we're going to look at Alien 3 today. It follows James Cameron's Aliens, and although it tries really hard to be part of the Alien family, it feels very much like the proverbial red-headed stepchild. So, let's go ahead and dive right in. The movie kicks off with a splash. Literally, the Sulico crashes onto a prison planet and Ellen Ripley is the only survivor. So, it seems like David Fincher decided to kill just about everybody from Aliens and replaces them with religious convicts fighting a xenomorph. And it sure doesn't help that with each scene things literally keep getting steamier and steamier. Poor Ripley is just stuck there having to deal with it. Honestly, facing the xenomorph must seem like a respite. I get that it's a prison and the guys haven't seen a woman in years and act all funny, but they behave in such a way that's appalling. In short, they couldn't get away with this today, not after the Me Too movement, that's for sure. Adding religion into the mix to make them more sympathetic increases the derangement rather than ameliorate it. A xenomorph that walks on 4 legs then too. Okay, I'll bite. Apart from walking on all 4s, there isn't much of a difference in looks. But a xenomorph is going to do the same thing it always does, causing mayhem, befuddling everybody, and Ripley is being tight-lipped about what's going on here. Even when she fesses up, the reaction is typical. Disbelief and ridicule, and then everybody gets their comeuppances. Dalek witnesses what it can do and becomes a Renfield-like character. The prison is a madhouse, and all the inmates are as loony as the next. The xenomorph's presence heightens the madness that they, not the alien, are actually pretty scary. Even Ripley isn't immune. The biggest reveal is that this entire time Ripley was carrying one of those beasties, which leads to Ellen goading the thing to kill her. It is a bit strange, I'll be honest, and it certainly made me wonder if Sigourney Weaver wasn't thinking, God, when will this end? Props to how they dumped molten lead onto the xenomorph. That was a pretty sweet move. Ripley sacrificing herself to destroy the Queen would be the satisfactory, if and welcome, end to the character. Ever noble to the end. However, this was the wrong movie to do it in. Had it been at the end of Aliens, it would have been far more poignant. Instead, throwing herself into a furnace after all this seems fitting. Space Us was getting the much and she needed an out. Finally, Ripley had the ending she wanted. Done and done. And do we really believe Weyland-Yutani doesn't want to study the creature for nefarious purposes? Come on, Bishop keeps assuring Ripley, but you know he's got his fingers crossed behind his back. Who exactly were they trying to fool with that? Anyway, what? Suddenly Ellen Ripley is just stupid from all the furnace fumes. Do they think we're stupid and just forgot about the past 2 movies? Seriously, man, get your act together. No wonder Ripley did what she did. After 3 movies, it's finally over. So, when they decide to clone her for the next Alien film, it feels like the sacrifice she made was futile and a waste. Guess the audience didn't take too kindly to seeing a beloved heroine go like that. And the studios weren't about to close the door on a money-making machine like that. Alien 3 tries to replicate the claustrophobic horror that we know from the first film with the action-packed thriller from the second, but it falls flat. Setting it on a prison planet instead of a spaceship and giving us unsympathetic scumbags as heroes doesn't gel. And no, making them religious doesn't help. And every other exchange, everybody is telling each other to shut up, which shows just how engaging the dialogue is. The early Alien films were inextricably tied to Ripley, and it was difficult to tell a story without her. Alien Romulus definitely went in the right direction, but it's up to Noah Hawley to see if we can get an Alien storyline that can stand on its own defeat without relying on Ellen Ripley or the past movies. That is to be seen, but what we got in Alien 3 is proof that even with an iconic heroine they just couldn't do it justice, and, as a result, we got something that wasn't innovative but tiresome. I also think it's hilarious how every other prisoner here has a Cockney accent, so you know that these prisoners are tough. It's kinda like if Mary Poppins was set in space and everybody got devoured by an alien creature. Now that's a movie I would watch. Thanks for watching, and if you don't mind, please leave us a like, it helps a lot. And while you're at it, subscribe so you never miss an episode drop. This is the Robot signing off.